In the upper left, in the blue, our Finnish player. He is
ENCE Esports, Serral.
And in the bottom right here, the Korean Terran, the challenger here, looking to put a point on the board. He is
Splice, TY.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Still showing aggression.
Yeah. This is... I'm not shocked.
No,
I didn't think TY was going to try to dial it back and go into late game, so he's like, okay, let's try to kill him even faster here. The last game, let's remember, guys, it was not an all-in, okay? I know sometimes we'll see two barracks and say, oh, this is very risky. The last game was a control build where he's trying to limit how many drones are coming out.
Warcraft 5, cool.
In this game, he's really trying to get into Serral's face and do damage in a much more pronounced way.
Yeah, this is a little bit more committed here, as you'd imagine, with your barracks being on the other side of the map. Looks like Serral's going to scout it with the Overlord, though, which is a bad start for TY.
This is unfortunate placement if this is scouted like this.
Yeah,
now,
it is
Serral
scouted.
may whip the Overlord around. Okay, he actually doesn't care. He's just going to show him that he scouted it.
Now, the Zerg is obviously locked in their build. You can't get a spawning pool earlier than what he's getting it right now because of the choice to go hatch first. So. Well, so what this does for Serral would means that he can pull drones a little bit earlier. He can interrupt the bunker production, which is definitely the priority here for the Zerg. Getting rid of these SCVs and forcing those Marines away from the bunkers.
Yeah, he's beginning to push forward now. The drones have been pulled. The SCV continues to produce the bunker. And the drones, in a lot of ways, will just body block and interfere with the Marines being able to enter cleanly into the bunker. The second SCV does get up, though. There's two SCVs on this side, which means it's going to be a lot harder to actually prevent this bunker from starting.
And three Marines.
Yeah, and as Serral pulls away, I think this bunker's going to finish. Good targeting.
Yeah, the bunker certainly looks like it's going to finish up here, but the Lings are out for Serral, and the Marines are nowhere near it, Tasteless.
5 drone kills so far, but with the drones and the Lings, the Zerg can actually take this fight. Was that a Marine going up?
No, I'm sorry.
That was a Reaper coming up here.
Yeah, this is actually something that Special showed us a little bit in WCS, and TY Special, of course, do share builds. So with the Reaper follow-up, Serral needs to delay Ling speed here because he's got all these drones and Lings on the front line with these Queens. So this means the Reapers can really dance around their early game Zerg army, and this is a great strategical decision from TY.
This is a great way to transition here. I love this because the Marines didn't have any utility at that point. So you switch into Reapers, and this is like the next phase of the rush where Serral has to continue to defend and deflect all these attacks. Otherwise, TY is going to continue to get a lead. Now, TY is expanding behind this, and there's really no opportunities for Zerg to counterattack just yet. But TY does have 2 major production facilities in the middle of the map. That's eventually going to have to be moved, and that might be where Serral can find his footing.
Certainly could be. There's definitely some options here for the Zerg. This game is certainly not over yet, but I'd definitely give the edge to TY with this decision in the early game. He definitely found the trades that he wanted. I mean, obviously, you want to get the hatchery kill, you want the bunker to get up and loaded with Marines, but this is the next best thing, and it's a glass half full here for the Terran. As he still continues to amass Reapers, but picking up one of those barracks for a scout as he gets his factory back at home. As TY's taking both these gases, also going for a very quick third base. So this is very much what Special like to do here and there against Zerg in the WCS circuit.
And this is something, this little barrack scout technique is something that Morrow really educated the entire world about in the way the proxies go. Is, you know, now that the rush is done, just go ahead and sack the rack, send it into their main, and confirm what they're doing. Because it's still a game of responses, right? So he's going to come in here. Now, he's also going to come in and try to actually hit with these Reapers, and these Reapers can do quite nicely against these Marines, against these Lings, especially if they can get those grenades set up. But again, most importantly, TY scouts in here. He says, okay, what is Serral's next step? Because TY is going to need to stay ahead.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of options for the Zerg. Like, does Serral drop a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest to go for a counter bust or something aggressive here? TY's barracks just making sure that the Zerg's been kept honest. This hatchery doesn't have a ton of hit points on it, and normally I don't see Reapers kill structures, but that is quite low.
Yeah, this is probably going to be saved here by Serral, but
close.
A little bit of a dicey moment there. The Reapers are continuing to roam, looking for creep tumors, Zerglings, stray drones, anything they can do to do damage. Back at home, we have the starport nearing finishing. So we're going to have medevacs eventually come into play here. And then that might be where this harassment gets much more pronounced. Because for now, the Lings with speed will beat Reapers if they can just catch up to them. That's why we see TY hugging certain corners on the map.
Now this, you were talking about the, I didn't even get to say my sentence to look smart because it's already happening right in front of us, Tasteless, but this is one of those maps where Terran actually does really like to go for that BC style. Yeah. This is, you know, we saw Maru do it in WCG, we saw TY do it himself in this map quite a bit in this matchup. but it is going to be scouted by Serral by the looks of things. Actually, that's the fusion core right there in the back of the natural. He may not have seen it with the Overlord.
Yeah, but he might be able to just map this out on instinct here. You know, Terran, because they have to stay back, you might as well try to rush towards that battle cruiser, other than maybe having a little bit of a squishy push that could come out here. And so, again, we're going to find out exactly how Serral deals with the battle cruiser play, which has really been a headache for Zergs all over the world.
It certainly has, and Serral has, you know, even said himself that the style is quite tricky to deal with. But Serral, he's making a lot of roaches right now. Now, he knows that the Hellions are certainly going to be hitting him as he scouted them. But with the roaches, once he cleans up the Reapers and the Hellions, they are actually relatively frightening to a BC guy. As the BCs kind of take a long time to build, and when you're stuck on Hellion Reapers and you're up against a lot of roaches, it's not the composition you want as Terran.
You did make a really good point, actually, because the BCs take a long time to build. There is going to be time for Zerg to try to come together with a plan. Now, Roach coming across the map.
Yeah, and what does TY do against this? He's just like, oh, well, guess I'll do some damage and slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, the battle cruisers are still in the mail. It's actually funny how much you can slow roaches down doing this.
Yeah. With
the grenades coming out here. You're not going to probably kill any roaches, but you're at least going to curb the amount of damage that can happen back at home.
And he splits one from the back there. Serral actually saving it by turning into a Ravager there. Nice little move there from Serral.
Oh, these lings are coming here, trying to surround.
There's 4 Hellions here on the ramp, though. Can TY cut through these lings and secure his exit? Looks like that is the case. So these units stay alive. TY is trying to get those extra couple factories down because he wants to go to the BC battle mech here. Oh, that's quite a few Reapers and Hellions here, Tasteless.
I think Serral actually might have made a pretty grave error here. You know, one thing about roaches in this situation is they can be kited and take a lot of damage, but they also will receive a lot of damage as they try to head back home. Now, here's that battle cruiser warp in. The question is, how will Serral handle this? Because as long as the battle cruiser stays alive, the Zerg is losing a lot, and the Terran loses virtually nothing.
So far, not so good. It looks like Serral's got a lack of queen count here. He's got, oh, there we go, extra few from the low ground. So these 5 queens definitely enough to dance with that BC. The Roaches definitely also high enough in count to be able to handle the Reapers and the Hellions in the low ground. Really cool play here from TY. He also got Concussive Shell, but didn't show us any Marauder production. He is definitely going straight into mech, as we can see, with the mech upgrades coming down, Yamato coming down, and also the double armory. And we're expecting some Cyclones here. Or actually, maybe with +1 attack, it could be straight into tanks for TY. Is generally, if you're going Cyclones, you want that armor upgrade first.
Yeah. He's going to continue to poke and prod with the BC play. And as we develop this mech, one thing, it's sort of a reversal from what we had before, is when you know that the mech's coming, then the Zerg is the one that has a little bit of time to respond. But with the headache of the battlecruiser coming around, it's going to be much tougher for Serral here.
Yeah, certainly. So TY going to try and dive into the natural here, and this is one of the reasons why this map isn't too bad for Zerg generally, because it's hard to get those run-bys, but I tell you what, this one looks pretty damn good, Tasteless. 11 drones.
Yeah, especially on this map, to get a run-by like that is the dream. And with the battlecruiser already roaming here and continue to do damage, this is really getting hard for Serral.
Yeah, this is when Serral starts to look a little bit rough, man. Like when he lost that series against Stats in the Aces Frog. I know it's a different matchup, but he lost a lot of his economy in the early to mid game, which made it easier for Stats to finish him off later. And TY has definitely done a lot of damage to the Zerg. Look, Serral's trying to get tier 3 stuff happening now, like Infestors. He's trying to get his upgrades up and all that sort of stuff, but he's spending all of his lava to replenish his drones. The Terran is up almost 20 workers here.
Beautifully done here. Now, TY's had a lead before. We saw this in game 1. The key thing, I think, specifically against Serral, is you are not allowed to overextend when you get that lead. Serral is able to hold off a surprising amount in pushes. There's periods where I really thought he was not going to be able to handle something, and he actually deals with it so gracefully. So I think TY is taking a better approach this time around. He's harassing as much as humanly possible, even letting those Reapers do damage at 9 minutes. That's pretty unheard of, you know, to finally get them in there and do that. And we see additional CCs going down. So TY in this game is going to try to catapult us into an even longer game here and try to cement that lead.
That is the case. I mean, surely it could go in a later game, but it looks like TY actually wants to kill him before Infestors are a problem.
I'm sorry. Actually, he's pulling SCVs right now.
That's right. So he's bringing some of the boys here for some repairs, but the idea here is to make sure that the Infestor count isn't too high, that Neural isn't too much of a problem. TY said to me earlier he just doesn't want to deal with Infestors and Neurals, so he wants this game to try and end it early. But I don't know if Serral's going to let this happen. He's getting his army supply a little bit higher, but it still looks like Terran definitely has the better army.
Also, TY stretching out to the upper right here. Serral hugging the very left side of the map. He doesn't have a lot of creep out here. You know, the more creep you have, the more time you have to try to take different fights at different angles, and especially against mech units, that's really important, right? Try to get in there and get that damage done. So here are the Infestors out now.
Yep, and they do have Neural. They don't have a ton of energy. I don't think he got Pathogen Glands. I don't remember if he got that upgrade, but Doesn't look like the Infestors have tons of energy just yet, but they definitely have enough to make a difference in this fight. Blue Flame not quite done for TY, so he doesn't have that bonus damage on the Hellions against the light units, but he does have these BCs, and he does have a scary amount of tanks.
This is that moment where the battlecruisers then merge with the rest of the army and then become this powerhouse attacking force.
Becomes Voltron.
Yeah, basically. Okay, he's coming forward now. A few corrosive vials are shot out, but it doesn't appear that they did very much damage at all. A small counterattack here with these roaches.
Yeah, nice moves from Serral, putting some presence on the board, but TY's going to try and Yamato down these Infestors, and he does get a couple of them. The Biles, though, getting one of those BCs. That is Serral's actual only consistent anti-air that's got, like, good burst damage here, along with the Queens. Oh, these Roaches still finding more damage here. TY not respecting these Roaches on the north side of the map. They're getting deeper into his infrastructure.
So TY has set up his foothold. But here he's going to try to artillery this down. Great denial there by those Ravagers for Serral. He's actually pushing it back just slightly. The tanks are not in range of the hatchery, so Serral's still in pretty good shape. You can see TY fishing with the idea of trying to come up that ramp and then saying, this isn't very safe. And actually, I think there's a chance. Yeah, Serral's just going to go for it. He's going to try to bust him.
Yeah, he brought a few Queens there, lost a couple of them immediately, but he wants to really break this line of TY. Getting those Biles down, another battlecruiser goes down, some of the tanks went down as well. These 4 tanks to the north side doing insane damage to the ground army of Serral. But if he can get rid of the BCs and push this back, he has a hope. TY is still starting to trade all right down here in the low ground. He's got +2 on those tanks. They are hitting really hard.
Nicely done there by TY. He still has this foothold. He has not lost that, but Serral is macroing out at a pretty scary pace. What he really wants to do is get those Ravagers there and hit that tank clump, that clump of 4 tanks. If he can actually hit that right in the middle, he's going to annihilate all that, and TY will have no way to do more damage in this push.
Well, Serral doesn't have a whole lot of gas to play with, so he's throwing in some Lings. That BC gets picked off there. TY losing that big air unit. He actually doesn't have high ground vision anymore without scans or these Hellions on the high ground.
No spotter.
So now he can pile these down. Exactly, you're absolutely right, Tasteless.
And he's pushed that away a little bit further, and I don't know if TY is going to try to double down on this position, but there's no way this push is going to last. Serral has survived this attack and now has freedom to expand and grow on the map.
The fact that Serral didn't die right there is a testament to how good of a player he is. Every other Zerg in the world would be dead right now. But he held on. That's incredible.
Yeah, that was pretty insane, and he did a really good job by, when he got rid of that battlecruiser. I know that a lot of times we'll think of a battlecruiser as like the unit that's taking the fight. In that case, it was actually there to give high ground vision. So when he took that out, then he was able to come in there and gun down the rest of those tanks. Really nicely done.
And very nicely done by TY as well, catching a good line of drones there, getting 8 of them. Very nice, very nice. You know, Serral hasn't been able to get to that comfortable drone count just yet, especially considering TY keeps finding this econ damage. Oh, a nice cluster of drones getting barbecued right there. 17 of them going down so far, and there's those Hellions getting finished off. So, wow. Very nice run by TY. Relatively inexpensive for him. He's got a lot of minerals to play with. And now he's throwing in Liberators into the mix as well, and he's very good at controlling them and keeping them out of harm's way.
Yeah, we've seen TY go back into a harassing phase here as he's just trying to get some damage. The TY is actually bigger than Serral right now.
Yes.
He has more supply, he has more bases. It's one of the funny features about how this will actually tech up. And, oh my God, 33 drones.
Yeah, this is really rough for Serral. He did such a great job of that engagement, but handling these Blue Flame Hellions has definitely not been his strength in the mid-game here or into the late game. TY finding some very critical damage. He's up over 30 workers right now. That is devastating for the economy of Serral. 41 drones have died, and he's trying to get up on the hive right now. Look at how small his bank is, Tasteless, and look at how bad his upgrades are.
TY is at 80 workers. Maney.
Tassels.
I mean, this is
rough.
That's a lot, and he has plenty of extra CCs to drop mules too. So I mean, TY is now an economic powerhouse. Remember, we heard Serral say, TY say that he actually wanted to avoid late game. Well, after what happened in game 1, he is full on late game against Serral, and he has a pretty proper lead here. So the question now is, how is Serral going to deal with this? I think most of that's going to come down to the bigger fights. Well, Serral needs to have perfect engages here.
He definitely needs to not lose any more drones, but he also needs to be able to get that Infestor count and get that Roach Ravager count up a little bit higher as well, because there is so many tanks here, and Serral has 0 Vipers on the map right now, so no Blinding Clouds to stop those tanks.
One of the little mini games that you have here is you're trying to force the siege tanks to siege with the Ravagers, and then Corrosive Bile the sieging siege tanks, because those are the ones you're guaranteed to do damage on.
TY going for some Hellbat dunks here on the Zerg army, forcing Serral back a little bit, giving those tanks room to be able to leapfrog forward here, get closer and closer to the Zerg's infrastructure. Biles getting a couple kills here, but Serral, it just feels like his composition just isn't right here. It just isn't exactly what he wants against this army. Not having any Blinding Clouds really does make this hard.
Okay, he's coming in now. TY needs to make this attack work. Serral, again, he's very good at finessing against these tanks. He comes in there, he guns him down, he darts back, but the Ravager count's getting lower and lower and lower. Oh, great neural parasite here.
Couple neurals on those Cyclones, because why not? Takes them out of the mix. They were kind of the frightening unit, I guess, at the front line for TY. I'm actually a little surprised that the Cyclones are being thrown in here. But, you know, I expected more tanks, I guess.
I actually, in the fight, almost didn't see them because I was watching the tanks and the Ravagers so much.
Well,
nicely done. He can
grabs.
gun the tanks down in the back.
Certainly can. These tanks are going to start shooting their own kind here, taking them out one at a time for that high ground.
Oh, he's so good.
He is so good,
This is so smart. And then, of course, he can easily kill those tanks as they're neural parasited. That's a word.
It is a word now.
So, GG.
Oh, my God.
TY.